Interdisciplinary branches of linguistics. If we say intradisciplinary, so there are also interdisciplinary branches as well. So linguistics is a broad field of study. As I always say that it is the most expanding branch of knowledge, a complicated entity, because we study language in a very scientific way. So it is not easy to understand. We have to learn certain rules and regulations to understand it scientifically. Many layers and facets. So there are lots of layers. It starts from the phonetics, that is the raw data of the language, and then it moves on different branches, which are its layers. Impossible to deal with all aspects of knowledge at once. Obviously, we cannot study linguistics in a single way. We have to study the layers of the linguistics. So we study different layers. Sometimes we study sound, sometimes we study its semantics or meaning or many other things. A number of divisions of linguistics. Linguistics is divided into a lot of branches, so we have to study each branch separately. The study of language in general is often termed general linguistics. So when we generally studying linguistics, it's general linguistics. So you'll see later on that there are other types of linguistics as well. So general linguistics has three main things: sound, structure, and meaning. So this is the basic knowledge of linguistics on which base all other branches of linguistics. So we can see this in this table, language as a system. If we talk about language as a system, so we have sound. Sound has two things: phonetics and phonology. Phonetics, basically the study of the physical properties of the sound, and phonology, how they are patterned, and they vary from language to language. And structure, morphology, and syntax. So when we talk about the structure of the language, we get morphology. Morphology discusses the structure of the words, individual structure of the word, how words are formed. So we study suffix, prefixes, roots, stems, etc. Meanings, semantics, so how words give meaning. So this is how we discuss in semantics. So we study meaning of meanings, and the pragmatics, how language is used with reference to the speakers. So we cannot understand a language with the basic constituent of the linguistics. For example, we need to understand that how a certain sentence is used by the speaker. So pragmatics help us understanding this aspect of linguistics. So phonetic study of the sounds of human speech. In sign languages, the equivalent aspects of sign. So linguistics also study signs. So also the basic aspects of the sign is discussed under linguistics. So like basic sounds, signs are also discussed. Physical properties of speech, sound or signs. Physiological production, that how sounds are produced. So we discuss articulatory phonetics, and this how different articulators are involved in producing sounds. Acoustic properties, with the physical properties of the sound waves are discussed under this heading. And auditory perception, how does the listener or the hearer listens the sound. So what are the aspects of the listeners in understanding sound? So we discuss auditory perception. And neurophysiological status, how the codes goes into our brain and what happens, how they are decoded. So we discuss under this heading. So when we come on to phonology, sound patterning or organization. So we hear pattern sounds, bilabial, labiodental, etc., voiced, voiceless, and fricatives, and this different types of patterns that we make. Morphology, the study of words, how they are formed. So as I said, prefix, suffix, root, stems are studied. So syntax, sets of rule, principle, how different words are arranged into meaningful units. How phrases have their arrangement, how clauses have their arrangements, and what is actually the sentence made of. So we study different structure under this heading syntax. Semantics, linguistic and philosophical study of meaning. So this is a very important subject to understand, because this subject helps us in understanding the meanings of the individual word as well as the phrase and the clauses and the sentence. And then we come on to the pragmatics. Pragmatics help us knowing how speakers use language not predictable from linguistic knowledge. So for example, from the linguistic knowledge, the sounds, the structure, and the meaning, they do not let us understand the language fully unless we see that how this is used. Was this an order or was this a request? So these all things help us understanding linguistics and come under the heading of general linguistics.